Good morning, everybody. It's Wolfang here. It is 51 degrees in Cincinnati, Ohio, with no snow on the ground, and it's Christmas Eve. So let's get to it. Tracking Santa Claus. Plus, I have something else to share after we find out where Santa Claus is at. So let's check this out. Santa Claus just left Vienna, Laos, and is headed or last seen in Burma. Now he's headed to Tibet, and he's already delivered over a bazillion gifts to all the good boys and girls, and maybe some humans. But anyway, this is pretty cool. You can look at all the look. Now he's up. He's up in the sky, and it looks like it's snowing. And you can see behind his sled is gold dust or gold stars. I don't know. This is pretty cool tracking Santa Claus. All right. There, let's see what this does. Oh, it just takes him away. Zoom in. Need some volume on that. Oh well. So Santa Claus is over Tibet right now. So let me share the other article. Let's see, I gotta stop, present. Okay, this next article I'm going to share is 8 things you may not know about Jingle Bells. Ooh, there we go. I like that one better. So, 8 things you may not know about Jingle Bells. J.P. Morgan's uncle wrote Jingle Bells. Wow. Born in 1822, songwriter James Lord Pierpont composed the music and wrote the lyrics for the holiday standard. His older sister, Juliet, married millionaire Eunice Spencer Morgan, and their oldest child, John Pierpont Morgan, followed his father into the banking business and became one of the most powerful financiers of the Gilded Age. And yes, I'm drinking a cup of coffee in my Christmas mug. Pierpont wasn't much of a family man. Huh. The Jingle Bells composer was a son of a fiercely obnoxious, I don't know, Unitarian minister, Reverend John Pierpont. From an early age, James Lord Pierpont sought adventures far away from his family in Boston. At the age of 14, he ran off from boarding school. Shame on him, he's not getting any gifts. Joined the crew of a whaling ship and spent nearly a decade at sea. When the California gold rush struck in 1849, Pierpont left his wife and children behind in Massachusetts while he chased riches in the West. Returning home several years later, no wealthier than when he left. That's what he gets. Pierpont departed from his family again in 1853 to become the organist of the Unitarian Church in Savannah, Georgia, that was pastured by his brother. Several months after the death of his first wife in 1856, the songwriter married a daughter of Savannah's mayor and left the 2 children from his first marriage back in the North with their grandfather. Doesn't sound like a very nice guy. The Jingle Bells songwriter was a rebel in more ways than one.
Adding your own flavor to
Seriously?
fashion comes with age.
Okay.
Stop. While his father and brother took fiery stands against slavery, Pierpont became a staunch supporter of the Confederacy. When his brother was forced to close his church and return to the North in 1859 due to his whatever preaching, Pierpont remained in Savannah. When war broke out, he enlisted with the 1st Georgia Cavalry and served as a company clerk. His father, meanwhile, served on the Union side as a chaplain of the 22nd Massachusetts Infantry. During the Civil War, Pierpont wrote Confederate battle flag or Confederate anthems, including Strike for the South, We Conquer or Die, and Our Battle Flag. The songwriter remained in Georgia after the war and lived out his final years in Florida before his death in 1893. Jingle Bells wasn't the song's original name. One Horse Open Sleigh. When the holiday ditty was first printed by a Boston music publishing house in 1857, it was released under the title One Horse Open Sleigh. When it was reissued 2 years later, the song had the more familiar title of Jingle Bells. Two cities claim to be the song's birthplace. A historical plaque in the Boston suburb of Medford, Massachusetts, claims that Pierpont wrote his famous tune while nursing a drink in the Simpson Tavern. I wonder if Bart was there. In 1850, a year after his father took over a nearby Unitarian church. That's not Unitarian church. The date, if not the place, of the song's composition is unlikely, given that Pierpont probably wouldn't have waited 7 years to publish it, and research by Boston University facility member Kana Hamill has found that he was still in California chasing gold at the time. In 1985, Savannah erected an historical marker of its own across from the church where Pierpont was music director at the time the song was published, and possibly soon after it was written in the city. Hamill surmises that Pierpont wrote the song in the early summer of 1857 while temporarily living in a Boston rooming house. One thing that is not in dispute is that Pierpont drew upon a snowbound memories of sleigh rides and sleigh races in Massachusetts, not Georgia, when writing the song. Jingle Bells was not intended to be a Christmas song. Although Jingle Bells is now a Yuletide staple, there is no mention of Christmas or any other holiday in the song. Some historical accounts report that the tune was first performed for a Thanksgiving service at the church of either Pierpont's father or brother, but the lyrics might have been too risque for an uppity audience. Not even going to try that word. Given the songwriter's rebellious nature, it shouldn't be surprising that Jingle Bells has a bit of a rebel without a cause attitude. The less known verses of the song describe picking up girls, drag racing on snow, and high-speed crash. The lyrics, "Go it while you're young," in the final verse of the secular standard is hardly about a holly or a silent night. The song may have been first performed in blackface. When One Horse Open Sleigh was first printed in September 1857, it was dedicated to John Ordway, a Boston doctor, composer, and organizer of a troupe of white men performing in blackface called Ordway's Arielans. After he failed efforts as a gold rush prospector, Pierpont wrote one of his first songs, The Return to California, in 1852. to be performed by Ordway's minstrels. And it appears the same was the case for about a dozen of his subsequent songs, including Jingle Bells. BU Today reports that Hamill uncovered a playbill from September the 15th, 1857 show by Ordway's Orleans that list a performance of One Horse Open Sleigh by Johnny Pell, who is described as a member of the Dandy Darkies. Jingle Bells was the first song ever broadcast from space. 9 days before Christmas in 1965, the two astronauts aboard Gemini 6 had just completed a rendezvous with Gemini 7 when the crew suddenly gave a troubling report to Mission Control. We have an object. Looks like a satellite going from north to south up in a polar orbit. He's in a very low trajectory traveling from north to south and has a very high climbing ratio. It looks like it might even be a very low. Looks like he might be going to Renner soon. Stand by, one. You might just let me try to pick up that thing. The tense report of the unidentified UFO was suddenly broken by the sound of Jingle Bells, with Wally Schirra playing a tiny harmonica accompanied by Tom Stafford shaking a handful of small sleigh bells that had brought along the space voyage. So they were playing a little trick. So the astronauts actually spotted Santa Claus out in space. Pretty cool. That's a little interesting 8 little facts about Jingle Bells. Didn't know any of that crap. So anyway, this is Wolfgang. Have a great Christmas Eve. And throughout the day, I will give updates on where Santa Claus is at. And we'll see what happens. So everybody have a great Sunday. Blessed be. Stay safe. And I'll chat with you all later. Bye.